I recently watched this video of Vijay Prashad talking about Marx's Capital, which I'm currently reading for my second time. And the interviewer asked Professor Prashad if there's anything else he should read alongside of Capital to understand it better. And Professor Prashad recommends just reading Capital, because once you have a book that diagnoses the problems of capitalism, you really don't need anything else. He's not saying you shouldn't read anything else, he's just saying this book diagnoses the core problems. If you combine it with the analysis that came later after Marx, after capitalism had further developed, in that capitalism grows into imperialism, and the imperialist countries will stop smaller nations from increasing their productive forces and will steal these countries' natural resources. Once you understand imperialism, as well as the core critiques of capitalism that Marx lays out in Capital, in that it's a system which leaves the masses working and alienated from their own labor, while a minority own and get extremely wealthy, you don't need much else. You now understand that our goal needs to be destroying capitalism and building socialism in its place. And this reminded me of one of the arguments in Washington's Bullets, one of Vijay's books, which I'm reading alongside Capital. Academia comes up with all these new names to describe imperialism. After World War II, a lot of colonized nations had gained their independence, and many were looking to build socialism or at least take control of their own country's natural resources. And this is when the US began their policy of global domination and global supremacy, overthrowing and destabilizing any government that didn't go along with our economic interests. And this is what in academia they call neo-colonialism. Rather than the blatant, open racist colonialism of old, now we have a sort of hidden form of colonialism. But the argument that Vijay makes is this is the same capitalist imperialism that Lenin was writing about in the early 1900s. It's wealthy industrial capitalists and bankers finance capital, expanding their territory into other countries. And the US state works as a tool of these multinationals. So in academia, we sit around coming up with all these different names for these things when it's really the same exact thing, capitalist imperialism. The tools and methods of the imperialists might change, and that's a lot of what this book is about, as well as my essay about imperialism that's coming out in our print journal soon. But ultimately, the core contradictions of capitalism discovered by Marx are still the drivers of all the major societal problems 170 years later, whatever it's been now. And the proletarian class and socialism remain our path forward to building a better future.